Hello and welcome. Today I have with me Omar SoftyB Ben Abdallah, the esports manager for Trackmania. Hi, how are you?
Hey, Marcel. I'm doing great. Yeah, a lot of busy stuff happening. The last months were quite challenging, but we're coming to an end, or like the start of the season. So yeah, excited. Um, Everything is going great. So yep.
All right. It's great to see you and have an opportunity to talk to you about the upcoming Trackmania World Tour. So maybe let's start with some insight on how this process of transition to duo has been going. For how long were you working on that behind the scenes? When did that idea occur to you or to someone on the team? And what was the initial plan comparing to what we have now?
The idea popped up basically, I'd say early 2022. Um, it was in my mind for a few time, but we needed to find the correct moment to do the change. We needed to discuss with the various people involved within the league. So that means players, streamers, teams, internally, and just have a global review of what will be the positive things if we make that move, what will be the downsides, because there are some, obviously. Um, and the idea was basically um, decided, well, made into a decision. I'd say a few weeks after the World Cup in 2022, um, because we believed that we had enough answers and enough points that made that change, like that gave a sense to that change. um, and yeah, the transition was rough in many ways, but for the greater good. I think we gained a lot on various subjects. um, I think players are way more happier, way happier, sorry, to play the league. They have someone to train with. They have way more motivation, at least from what I understand. Um, we have way more ways to storytell around our league, bring more hype around matches. I feel like even the viewers expect way more from this season than the previous ones. Um, we have strong teams in both Grand League and Challenger League, so that's new as well. I believe in the previous seasons, people
Mm-hmm.
were a bit less concerned about Challenger League, maybe because the skill level was a bit more spread out. Right now, we have 8 really great teams there. I believe it's going to be really interesting to watch and showcase the upcoming top players. So yeah, it was challenging, definitely. A lot of hours considering various changes. Even today, there are still things that we are looking at how we can improve them for the future. It's going to be some kind of a learning process because this is going to be the first time we start a season with that format. Um, so yeah, it's all about taking the time, finding the right moment, and I believe we did that change at the right moment. It was a good time for Trackmania to move to 2v2, and I'm just excited, and everyone at the studio is excited to see the start of the season.
Can you share some more about the things that you're looking to maybe change in the future? Like some things that you're concerned about the format that is in the form that it is right now.
Um, the game format as it is right now, I believe, is in its best shape. Hence why we decided not to switch to the Ace, for instance. It
Mm-hmm.
was a discussion that happened after the showdown. I gave the reason why. I believe it's gonna work well as it is. So in terms of game format and game experience, I believe we are at a pretty good state. Let's see how it works in real conditions. We never know. But we have a strong belief that we found the correct format to have that 2v2 system. Um, when I mention things that can be improved, I believe I'd rather mention the circuit as a whole, the structure of the circuit. Um, we established things based on brainstorms and things we learned throughout the years, things that we can see on other games, what our competitors are doing, and um, what we have right now came out from those. But I'm not going to be the one saying that we are like 100% sure that everything we've established is correct and is in its best shape. I think we can always learn and improve things. I think it's rather minor changes that we are looking at in the future, and it's going to depend on how this year is going to perform. On the events we've established, on the points we are giving to each event, the importance we are giving to each event, how players are reacting to each events. Is there enough motivation? Is there enough things to play? That kind of stuff. I think we'll just monitor throughout the year and adapt if needed for the upcoming years. And that's pretty much it. Then you have like major points that we are still looking at every time. So like the tracks, for instance, which are playing a major part within Trackmania. We know how hard it is to please both the players, the viewers, and us to have the correct tracks. And it's always a challenge to provide the correct tracks to the players. And we can always improve there. But yeah. It's rather I'd say a mindset that we have internally of saying there's always something to improve. Like we won't just have a look at it and say it's good as it is and everything is perfect. That's not true. And as in any game, in any sports, you can always improve yourself and provide better environments for the players, the viewers, the teams, the studio as well, the game. So yeah.
Yeah. Tell me, like, how did it actually come to be? I mean, were you specifically looking for a way to revamp the system, or that was just a spontaneous idea that you just made a reality?
The idea was spontaneous. The idea popped up due to various things. It was a result of previous discussion I had with players regarding the training in solo, how Trackmania can be good, or how Trackmania was good, because Trackmania has been a team game for years now, and even since 2006. So it's not something new that we are approaching. The game has experience in team tournaments, and it always had that small value, that small thing that brings more value to play in teams rather than in solo. The emotions you can live with your teammates are completely different. How you react to a bad or a good performance as an individual, that kind of stuff. So the idea was spontaneous, but we took the time to think like about how we can make that transition in an efficient way. The idea was not just about let's move to 2v2, do a few things there because we believe it can be cool, and that's it. The process was long and for a reason. And what we have right now is definitely the result of, I'd say, at least months of works. So um, you cannot take those kind of decisions lightly. That's definitely something that brings a lot of changes for everyone involved within the league, and that means that when you are keen to do those changes, you have to be sure about it, because going back is something that is not easy to do. Even though we could say like 2 is not performing as without, and individual gameplay is the way to go. I don't believe that it will be the case, but we never know. But making that backtrack is definitely something that will be harder now that we've taken that decision.
Yeah, and I think you touched on it a little bit, at least on how the duo format would definitely benefit the players. But can you tell us some more about how it would actually benefit the whole competitive ecosystem? How it would benefit the growth of Trackmania as an esport?
Um, that's a that will require a long answer, but I'll keep it short. Um, I believe that my main point regarding the players was not only the fact that you could train and have someone that you can play with throughout the year, which definitely, and I think everyone can understand that having someone to train with is way more motivating. When you have better results, you have someone to rely on. Like mentally, it's less threatening, and there's many positive things but in the idea of playing with a duo, and I guess that will be rather a question for a player to have a complete answer on what does it change for them on a daily basis. When it comes to the competitive ecosystem of Trackmania, the two main points are, I think that having a duo system allows the transmission of knowledge, which is something that is really important on Trackmania in terms of mental and in terms of gameplay. Something that was less and less happening in the previous season of TMGL because everyone was training offline, and then you had it was definitely harder for players to progress in many ways. Now you can have duos such as I don't know. Let me find an example, but do I have an example in mind?
You're
Not really in
like a
not really
veteran
in
in
Grand
the.
League. Yeah, not really in Grand League because you
I
basically
I
have
mean
already
my
veterans.
Mime and
Mime
Elcon
and Elcon, yeah, but
they're
mine is
both
really
new.
new, so
They're both new, yeah.
you don't really have that relationship.
And Mada and
Um,
Solja. Mada is a little bit longer.
Muda and Solja is a great example. Muda comes from an amazing season where he dominated almost everything. And Solja is a newcomer, which definitely showed that he basically destroyed the Challenger League last season. So he has a great potential, but then how does he react when playing against the best players in the
Yeah.
world? And having Muda alongside him on a daily basis during his trainings, during the matches, will definitely make his progression faster in many ways. Having Spam as a coach as well definitely will help. So that there's that transmission of knowledge that will definitely, I believe, help the growth of new players. I think there's also a social aspect that is really important for a lot of players. Trackmania has always been a game where you should play and compete and have fun with your friends. And the fact that we were going more and more into that individual aspect, players tryharding way more because the league is growing as well, and just hiding their times, and just closing themselves,
Yeah.
and just focusing on their own. And I believe that when you look at the social aspect of things, it's going to be really beneficial for a lot of players, and it's gonna give a lot of motivation to new players to just, if they have a friend, let's connect. We register ourselves without any expectations. Let's just play, see how it goes, play some matches, and maybe it will create something in some of those players that will just give them the motivation to compete and become the best in the next 3 years. So on the long term aspects, I believe the 2v2 is definitely gonna allow more players to commit into Trackmania as a game. It's not gonna be the only factor, but it's a pretty important one.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, I guess that sums it up. I believe like the two main points are the social aspect of things and the way that you have potential duos where you have a veteran that can transfer his knowledge and everything he learned across the previous years to develop new talents. And that always like if you ask me what has been the hardest challenge Trackmania has had in the previous years, it's definitely the development of new talents. You have a few exceptions from here and there, like Otak, Mime,
Yeah, I feel like they
Soldier.
always like
Uh,
pop up randomly out of nowhere.
exactly. And the idea is to remove that randomness and create some kind of a balance where we are able to develop new talents. And that's also the idea of bringing more region within the league
Yeah.
and the circuit as a whole. We want to see and we want to allow new talents to pop up and at some point become the best players in the world.
Mm-hmm. With the new format, we got an entirely new rulebook that sparked, well, a controversy or two. I want to talk about the single duo rule that has been changed, but the discussion on that topic was quite heated. Tell me about why did you change your mind in the end about the only one duo per organization rule?
Um, the reason is pretty simple, at least for me, and I think for a lot of players. Um, but I can like that was the point of having a discussion. I'm always open to learn
Mm-hmm.
about other opinions, whether they are right or wrong. I'm not the one to say like I'm not the one saying that should be the one saying that their opinion is right or wrong. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
has its own, and you have points to defend it. Um, my point and our point when deciding that an organization or slash a team should only have one duo um, is coming through two reasons. The first one is that um, across the years, even though when I wasn't in Nadeo, um, especially in the years of 2016-17, you had Team Dignitas and Team Acer before that, which basically had all the good players and or almost all the good players. And once you had I don't know new talent popping up in some other random teams, you knew that one of the two teams will like recruit that player. I remember Avi Flyer, for instance, which was first a NASCAR player, quickly turned out to a tech player in Big Three or I think that was it. Which then like basically moved quickly to Dignitas because he had an amazing talent. Um, and that situation was definitely impacting the growth of Trackmania as a game and as an esport. You simply cannot, or at least if you want to develop a healthy ecosystem for various organizations to compete and have a point in being in the game, you cannot have 10, 16 players in the same team. That doesn't make any sense for the team itself because you are just spreading your investments across 16 players instead of just focusing and giving your like giving everything to two players or more. And even for the players themselves, um, they, they 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 are just missing in like support that they could have from another
Mm-hmm.
team um, um, because they are just in a team where you already have 15 other players and yeah the team investment is not infinite, especially on Trackmania, especially in at the lower levels of Trackmania. We know how the scene is. We won't we won't say that we are a tier one esports, far from that. So the investment are still at the scale of the game. So they are just in correlation with where the game is. But then yeah, so that was the first point. We don't see any point in having an organization getting 10 duos and then not financially supporting any of those duos. We just believe that it should be a better situation for both the team and the players to only focus on a single organization. Um, and then there's a thing about Challenger and Grand League where basically, if you want to compete in regionals, there's two reasons behind that. Else, you want to qualify to challenger because that's the way
Mm-hmm.
to promote, or you just want to have fun. And I think by writing the rule book, I think we forgot about that second aspect of things of
Mm-hmm.
where you had players that just wanted to participate in the world tour to have fun with their friends, and that's definitely something that I can agree on, and that's why we made that switch. Um, because those players they do not have any expectations. They are just there to play some matches, have fun, move on to the next regionals, and that's definitely something we are looking to have. On the first aspect of things, though, if you are looking to promote to challenger, in challenger and grand league, the teams can only have one roster. So that means that basically there are no point in having multiple rosters because anyway, if you
Mm-hmm.
qualify more than one, you will have to let go one of those two rosters.
Yeah.
So in that sense, you can have the idea of saying, yeah, let's have multiple rosters. Even though like we qualify multiple rosters, we can sell one to another team. Um, but that's not how it works, and we are not at this point in Trackmania yet.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, for an organization that wish to qualify to the Challenger League, there's no point in having multiple rosters, and that's why we've set up that rule. Um, Now we understood that some of those organizations were thinking the other way around and believe that they see a point in having multiple rosters. Um, So then the idea was just to find the middle ground of that, to first answer the question of allowing players that are playing for fun to represent an organization without any expectations. So on that sense, now an organization or a team in regionals can have multiple rosters without any issues, even in the same region. But then we've added the rule to say if you have more than one roster qualifying to the promotion, relegation tournament, All Stars, or any major tournament such as the World Championship, you'll have to choose one roster, and the other other alternative rosters will have to else participate as a new team. So like else create a new name slash team legal entity.
Let me stop you for a second because I have one question, just a
Yeah.
specific one. Because in the rulebook it says any event that is connected to the World Championships, that last chance qualifier also count as one. So only one team from organization can be in last chance qualifier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's
and
all.
the reason behind that is all as well, the percentage of chances you have to qualify to an event.
Yeah.
We do not want to have a team that has 12 rosters for the sake of saying we have 12 more, like 12
that makes
chances to
sense.
qualify to that World Championship, where you have other organizations that are investing everything into a single roster. They should have the same chances. So in that sense, that's why we applied that to last chance, wildcard, and all events across related to the World Championship. So yeah, the idea was just saying you can have as many rosters as you want in regionals, but once you have more than one qualifying to an event that can qualify you to the World Championship or to the Challenger League, you'll have to pick one, and the other rosters will have to play with a new name or team, and if they qualify, that's also something really important because again, it relates to the idea of giving equal chances to all teams. If they qualify, they won't be able to return to the team that they were playing with in regionals. So yeah,
But
basically,
that is something
yeah,
that I was also curious about because there are only two options for the team that wasn't picked by the organization, either withdraw or transfer the license. But whose decision it is to transfer the license or not? Is it team's decision or the duo's decision?
yeah. For each team, you have what we call some kind of a point of contact. And usually, what we'll do in those kind of situations is that we'll consult those players, discuss with them, and if there are any issues or conflict between the two behind the decision, which I don't think will happen, but who knows? Um, the person in charge of the roster itself will be deciding, um, will be taking the decision for the team. Those are the type of situations where basically, since it's basically the first season and the first year of World Tour, those are the type of situations where we'll most likely handle them case by case, depending on what the players want, and depending on if they have different opinions on their choices. But I highly doubt that it will happen, especially since we are speaking about qualifying to a promotion relation tournament, World Championship. That means that you've performed well, so there shouldn't be any specific issues behind that.
Yeah, okay. We could see already the first event with the new format, the Trackmania World Tour Showdown. What really caught my eye about it was the place where we were watching this at and the caster that were commentating the game. Talk me through the decision to finally move out from Wirtuals channel after I think at least a year.
We did not decided to move out from virtual channel. It was mainly due to the fact that it was a showdown, um, and for various reasons, as it's meant to be some kind of a first taste of what the format is, on campaign tracks, with the new duos, that kind of stuff. We believed it was a good thing to have a stream on Trackmania with with talents that were already there in the previous year. Um, Without saying too much, I think we are pretty close to announce how the streaming aspect will be done in next year. There's definitely a want, like, we do want to provide more content on the Trackmania channel, but that doesn't mean that we do not believe in our in our strategy when it comes to streaming that we had since 2019, um, by relying on organizations and external casters to provide um, the Grand League and other type of contents to their communities. We believe it's something that works well in Trackmania for many reasons, and we do everything in our power to continue to have that. But yeah, let's say that there will be more activity on the Trackmania channel regarding the Trackmania World Tour. It's definitely something that we are looking at because for many reasons. I won't just take the time to explain every
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the why of each reasons. Um, but yeah, we did not decide.
Okay.
Short story short, we did not decide to completely stop working with Virtual.
Mm-hmm.
We always put a strong value in the relationship we have with him. Um, we believe that he provides a great content. He's really good at casting with Janik. Um, and yeah, I guess you'll just know more in the upcoming days. Definitely gonna happen before the season, so in the upcoming days.
Mm-hmm. So about a week to go.
Yeah.
uh, what is the plan for 2023? You said in our last interview that it will be the year of Trackmania. It has become quite a meme in the community. Now we know it was about the complete overhaul of the entire competitive ecosystem. But what, in your opinion, is the goal for this year to really call it the year of Trackmania? Is there a way to quantify that? Do you have maybe just any expectations to go off?
I mean, I believe that meme goes since 2018.
Oh, okay,
Like
okay, my
saying
bad.
that that every year is the year.
Okay.
It's something that's something funny that comes out every at the beginning of each year. Um, but I believe this one, there's definitely a lot of things that makes us say that maybe it's not the year, but it's a good year coming
Mm-hmm.
up with the console release, which is definitely something really important for Trackmania as a game, with the complete revamp of the circuit, targeting at more regions, including more players, trying to bring more motivations to those, connecting a bit more our esports to our game through the matchmaking changes, um, and many more things that are planned. Um, I would say, like I said, I believe in your interview back in at the end of summer,
Yeah.
um, the main target and the main objective of this year is to provide an esport accessible to everyone and everywhere. And if we manage to develop new talents in smaller regions, and have a much more diverse field in the World Championship, um, to prepare the upcoming years as well, I think that will be successful.
Mm-hmm.
I think the leagues itself um, will be doing great. The players are motivated. The matches are going to be insane. We have a lot of strong matches planned. Um, we have much more activity as well and much more content to watch to provide to our viewers. Um, just to give you, it's a number that is I tend to use quite a lot in the recent weeks. Um, Last year, we provided around 40 hours of content across the year. Right now, we are more about at least 250 to 300 hours of content. So that's a huge step in bringing more activity when it comes to our esports, to our players, to our viewers, to those that enjoys watching Trackmania's competitions. Um, so yeah, there's so many things that we're implementing that are new, um, but the main targets remains to let's develop the smaller regions, let's
Mm-hmm.
develop those new talents, let's think about the upcoming years, and let's try to yeah just be more attractive to more players basically.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great objective that we have.
Mm-hmm. And this year, you got some help from the first long-term sponsor, TMGL sponsor. Well, now it's actually the whole Trackmania World Tour sponsor. Thus, what did that sponsorship allowed you to do that wouldn't be really possible or would be way more difficult otherwise?
Um, I think I'll just have to. to not reject the question, but um, there's a lot of things to come, and there's a lot of things that Kaporal are bringing that wouldn't be possible without them. The collaboration is really good. They are enjoying what we are doing on Trackmania. They're enjoying the game, what we put in place, and on the other way around, I think we have a lot of synergies to put in place with them as a brand. So there's definitely a lot of things we thought about in that collaboration that that might come in the upcoming weeks or months. But yeah, I guess
Okay.
wait and see when it comes to that question.
So nothing, just wait, and we will know. So maybe for the last question, you can maybe tell us about maybe some plans that were scratched, something that was in the process, but then it just didn't happen, or maybe turned into a different form.
Let me think.
Okay.
I don't think I have something in mind that was like planned to be pushed and didn't happen. Because yeah, the main the thing that took us the most time is definitely thinking about, do we stay in 1v1 1v1 or we move to 2v2. It was a really long process to make sure that the decision was the correct one. The format was pretty straightforward. I think we wanted to be really close to the teams mode. We just wanted to remove the draw aspects, and also find a way that where a player couldn't solo carry his team. So the format was pretty simple to design. And that's pretty much it. I think the structure of all things was also pretty straightforward. I think we didn't reinvent anything. We just tried to use the experience we had in the past years. Look at what others do. That's obviously something I'm always doing, because other games are doing great things, and there's always something that you can learn from them, good or bad. So yeah, I don't have something in mind that was like planned and didn't make it, to be honest.
Okay, I guess that's a good thing. All went according to plan.
Yeah, pretty
So
much.
that was my last question. Thank you for the interview. Do you have anything you want to say to the viewers?
Yeah, well, as always, we are what we are doing and what I'm doing on a daily basis is trying to provide the best content and the best show to those viewers. I know people do not like that show word, because it remains a competition, but in the end, you want to have excitement, you want to be entertained, you want to have the best matches that you can have, and there's definitely we can see that the players are giving it all in their training. They are taking that season way more seriously than the previous ones, and that's something cool. So yeah, just to tune in on the 21st of January. You'll have amazing matches with amazing players, with amazing casters, and it's gonna be really cool to have Trackmania back. It's been long, like 6 months without having a match to watch. I'm missing it, definitely. So yeah, I'm just super excited, and I hope to see as many people as we can have on the 21st, looking at the first matches of the Grand League.
Yeah. And to all the viewers, you can find all the links to Mars and Trackmania Esports socials in the description. Thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoyed, I invite you to leave a like and subscribe for more interviews in the future.